Welcome back to the TOWKA Talks podcast. Today I am joined by Abeyta, aka the Slim Shady. He is a Keller High School senior, team captain of his varsity cross country and track teams, a chocolate milk enthusiast, 413 miler, and he is a future Creighton Blue Jay, also known as a Division One cross country and track runner. AJ, thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm very excited to be on.
Yeah, man, we're happy to have you. So let's just jump right into the conversation. What got you into the sport of running in the beginning?
So initially I started running just to get in shape for soccer. I want to say I my first start was in 6th grade when we just signed up for the school track team just cuz why not? And I remember the first meet of the year, my coach signed me up for the 4x1 and the 200. And I didn't practice at all because why would you practice to run? I thought that was pretty stupid. So we go out there and I ran the 4x1, and that was like one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. Uh, I almost didn't finish that. And I was like, oh, shoot, I have the 200 later. So I was goofing around, not really taking it serious, and ran the 200, and I really almost didn't finish. Like I borderline walked across the finish line, and my parents were like, "Oh my gosh, this kid sucks." So over that period of time, COVID happened, and so my parents just took me to the track almost every day, just made me run, go outside, because that's the only thing you really, could do besides staying inside all day. So I just ran all over that break, and then 7th grade we had a practice one day going into the track season. Our coach made us run 3 laps around the football field as fast as we could, and I ended up winning. And so our coach sat us down the day before the meet, and he told us what everybody was going to run. And he goes, AJ, you're running the 800 and the 4x4. And I was like, oh crap. Like, oh, this is going to suck. So I go home to my parents and I tell them, hey, coach put me in for the 800 and the 4x4. And the look on my parents' face was priceless. I mean, they pretty much just went like pale. They were like, oh, because they knew what happened in 6th grade. And now you're telling me I'm going to go run, like 4 times that distance? Yeah, right. We, meet day arrives, and my parents just kept telling me, they were like, don't be the rabbit. Don't go out in first. Like, just like wait and just like wait your turn and then take the lead. And the race starts, and I immediately took the lead. And my parents were like, "Oh my gosh, he's the rabbit." And I start leading that 800, and all I can remember from that race is just seeing stars the last lap. Like I thought I was going to die when I crossed that finish line, and I won, which was the crazy part. Like nobody was even near me for that entire race. I won. And my parents were like, "Oh my gosh, like he's actually good at this. Maybe this is something we should keep doing." So I ran that 4x4 later. We ended up being pretty good my 7th grade year, winning a lot. But that's kind of when I got my first start into running, was just trying to get fit for soccer. And, eventually it's just taking that place of like, um, becoming the main thing I do. Like that's what I want to do with my life, which is a crazy thing to think about.
So you've had a lot of coaches along the way, correct, from the early days up to now.
Yeah, I would say about 5 or 6.
And what have you learned from each of them that's helped groom you into the runner that you are today?
So I would say the first coach who kind of got me my start into this sport would be my middle school coach, this guy, Coach Stringer. And he just believed in me. Like he just saw the talent when we ran those 3 laps. And I'm so grateful for him, because without him, I probably wouldn't be in the sport, because he just, let me have fun and just let me run and, have some success in middle school. And he eventually led me on because he, uh, he told me he was moving, so he wouldn't be there anymore. He told me about this one coach he'd worked with before named Coach Hicks. And Coach Hicks I go out and I met him, and I didn't know at the time, but he was a sprint coach. I'm not a sprinter. So for about a 2-year stretch from eighth grade all the way to like end of freshman year, I essentially only trained like a sprinter. And he taught me a lot. Coach Hicks was great. He really taught me, like the nitty gritty part of the sport, putting in like hard work. And I mean hard work. That dude made me do some intense workouts to where I thought I would like die at the end of the day. Oh, it was brutal. Coach Hicks helped me develop, like I would say, like my kick and like sprinting mechanics and form. I wouldn't be as springy or bouncy without him. Like I wouldn't be near as explosive. And he just helped me with a lot of lessons, especially with, about like recruiting and everything down the line, down the process. Like he helps me out a lot with that because he's been doing this for a minute. I remember transitioning away from him was hard because I've been there for 2 years, but at the end of uh I want to say freshman year, I got to the point where I was really burnt out because I essentially trained really hard all the time for about 2 years. And um I eventually got a calf strain that was really bad. And I went to see this guy, Dr. Chapman, who he referred me to get it all sorted out. And when I went to see Dr. Chapman, one of the first questions he asked me, because me being a distance runner, running the 8 and the mile, was, well, how many miles are you doing a week? I was like, what are you talking about? And he was like, you're telling me you don't know how many miles you run a week? And I was like, that's a thing. So he was like, oh my gosh, oh, what are we doing? So he referred me to this guy, Terry Jessup, my sophomore year. And that's been one of the best things that's happened to me for, running in a long time because transitioning away from Coach Hicks was hard because that was a long 2-year stretch of my like career, my training, my life. But going to Terry was just, that's when you finally feel like everything just fell into place. Like everything just was like, oh my gosh, it makes sense now with Terry. Because I remember one of my first practices, it was going into the winter, and we only meet on Saturdays. That's the only time I see this guy. All he does is send you the workouts for the week, and then you meet him on a Saturday, do a workout with the group, and that's it. And we go to meet him, and I was like, hi, super nervous, super shy. And I asked him a question after the practice. I was like, "Hey Terry, I just need your advice because I'm still playing soccer right now. Like, what should I do to like balance out like mileage and like soccer practice and everything?" And he goes, "Uh, I know the solution." I was like, "Oh, what is it?" And he goes, "Quit soccer." And I was like, "Oh, okay. I guess that's it. All right." So he uh he was awesome. I mean, talk about old school, like run mileage, run it hard. Like that dude has put me through the ringer, like extremely. There's one workout I always tell people about it in the winter. We have our base strength period, and we uh we would go to this one hill in Dallas, and he would have us warm up. We'd go do 2 miles. We'd come back, and it's cold at this time, so you're layered up, you got tights on, you got pants on, you got like a long sleeve underneath, a hoodie on, like gloves, you're like fully kitted out. And he would be like, all right, what we're going to do is we're going to run up this hill. It was about like, I want to say maybe 300, 400 meters. You run up, you jog halfway down, you're going to bound up, then you're going to jog all the way down to the bottom. We're going to go do like 5 by 3 minutes on, 90 seconds off, come back to the hill, do the hill circuit again, go to this mini hill, do like 12 to 16 mini hill sprints, come back to the hill, do the hill circuit again, come back down to the road. Then we're going to do like 5 by 1 minute on, 1 minute off, come back to the hill, do the hill circuit again, come back, and then do like a 2 mile tempo or something like that. And after all that, you would still go do your cool down. And I remember the first time I did that, I've had workouts, where they hurt, you're dying, you're on the ground before. I haven't really had a workout where it felt like I literally couldn't move. And I actually thought I was going to go to the hospital until I did that workout. Because that workout, like your legs just, oh my gosh, like awful. Like I thought I needed a wheelchair. Thank goodness I couldn't drive at the time. And my dad drove me everywhere because I wouldn't be getting home. But the crazy part is, like, after that, the next day, you'd go do a long run just because that's how the training was. You would do a lot of mileage, you'd do it hard. And it really benefited me because freshman year, I want to say best time I ran, I went to Adidas Nationals and I ran 4:36 in the mile. And I felt like I could do so much more because I was still on that sprinting training. Well, with Terry, sophomore year, first mile I've ever run since starting his training, we go out. I think it was Texas Distance Festival. Yeah, it was TDF, and I was in the mile. And we go out there, and I ran something crazy. I think I went like 4:26 and almost won my heat. And that's when the training like felt like it finally clicked into place. I was like, man, I'm fit. Like this is what it means to be fit, where you run a mile that hard and you're tired, but you're not dying. You're like, "Oh my gosh, this is what fitness feels like." Ever like every time I'd go do workouts with Terry or, go meet up with the group, it just, I was so motivated by that fitness feeling that I would push harder and harder and harder. And I had a good group with me. I've met some of my like lifelong friends through Terry. But, like, it was so nice to see that progress finally come into place. I won state, that year in track in the mile, and I got second in the 800. But it was, it was so much hard training and so much of it, but it really benefited me to see, like, this is how hard work pays off, this is how it benefits you. Last meet of sophomore year, I remember I was in really good shape. Terry kept saying I was in like 416 shape. I never believed him because he's an older guy and he's pretty funny. So I was like, yeah, nice jokes, Terry. You're funny. I sign up to run like the Texas Meet of Champions mile, and they had the most unorganized meet I've ever seen. Like we were down in San Marcos, which is Texas State's track, and it was about, I want to say, 100 degrees outside and like 70% humidity. So everybody's dying. Like even the sprinters are like dropping like flies. And I warmed up about 40 minutes early. So I was like, oh crap. Like I'm already warmed up and it's hot. Like, uh-oh. You don't really come down from that. But I go out there and I went like 4:23. And I was like, oh my gosh. Like if it's 100 degrees and hot and I warmed up like an idiot and I ran 4:23, like, oh, I'm in for some fast races. And then that year, kind of I decided to transition from private school to public school. And that's when I made my last coaching change. I transferred over to Coach Gretz, who's the Keller High School coach. And learning through Gretz, I've just kind of learned how to work with a team. I'll say that's the biggest thing I've learned with Gretz. Because private school, I was essentially by myself. Like I had one or two guys, but it was pretty much me and myself and I. Like I did everything by myself. I didn't really hang out with too many people. and joining a team like Keller and, joining alongside a coach like Coach Gretz has really showed me how to become a team player and, kind of work with other people and, find your role in a program. And so Gretz has taught me so many lessons and I've had so much fun. His training's not near as hard as Terry's, but I mean, that's what you get with different coaches, two different training styles. Um, so I mean, Gretz has really helped me like mature. Like I've had a lot of potential and he's just really helped me blossom into like, being that kind of like team player and finding myself fitting in with the program.
So speaking of Keller, your team just competed in the Texas UIL 6A state championship. You guys finished fourth as a team, correct?
Yes, sir.
So what would you say as far as like a recap of how you performed and how the rest of the team performed? Were you guys pleased with your finish? Because fourth in the state is a huge accomplishment. Just getting to the state meet in cross country in the state of Texas is huge. How would you rate your guys' performance overall?
I would have to say fourth is the best Keller's ever placed at the state meet. Like what we did this year was monumental from not even making it last year. We didn't even make it out of region. I think we got seventh. So to come out and get fourth was a great feeling. Now, I'd sound crazy if I told you we were actually disappointed with that, but that's the truth. Because I mean, the group of guys we have right now at Keller is just so talented. I mean, we're only losing two guys next year, me and another senior. And they're in for something really special. I'm so jealous. I say it all the time. I'm jealous I don't get another year with them. But, we've done so well all season, in the lab and workouts and going out and competing. Coming out and starting the season with a bang and winning a big meet like Coach T um, was such an amazing feeling and confidence boost. And we've gone to some big meets like A&M and competed with teams like Bridgeland and Vandergrift, which are these top staple programs, both teams who've made NXN the previous year. And we've gone out and competed with them. We just knew something special was coming our way. And now going to the state meet, we did really well at regionals, especially on a hard course, 20 points behind Carroll. And I think just for some of the guys, like, the younger guys, like the juniors and sophomores on our team, they just, they don't understand how to keep the intensity, right? So, I just feel like there was kind of that feeling there of, you know, third place is, gonna be easier than it is. And, you could just tell that with the attitude, which I completely understand. Had I been in their place, I probably would have thought the same way. But the reality of it is like when we get to the state meet, like everybody there wants it, like bad. Like every team wants to get a podium. And so I'm not saying we had a bad race or a bad meet as a team. I mean, Boston, our junior, getting ninth overall. I came in at 25th. Another junior, Heath, came in, gosh, I want to say like 30th, maybe 35th, a few spots behind me. Um, and then our fourth and fifth guys, not running terrible races, but just not running to like the level they can. Um, really just showed us like, you gotta want it. Like, and I feel like that's one of the learning curves that comes with it, You just you learn, you gotta want it bad. Um, which I hate that, we have to learn this lesson when I'm a senior and I'm here and we finally make it to the state meet. But it happens. Like, it's life and that's where you find part of that beauty and like not everything's perfect, So I'm I'm not disappointed with our performance at the state meet. Fourth, I mean, that's the highest the guys have ever placed ever in the history of Keller and our first time going since 2018. But, I know there's so much more to this team. And, I know that there's bigger and better things ahead. So I'm just excited, for the future of what this team does.
I want to give a special shout out to our boy Andrew DeYoung, aka the Slim Reaper, and Grapevine Mustangs for winning the UIL 5A state championship. The Keller girls got eighth overall, I believe, as a team at the state championship. I haven't told you this, AJ, but I reached out to the longtime coach, Coach Dave Park, and it was the last time that the boys team at least went to the state meet. I asked him, I was like, what was their finish? How did they do? He was really impressed that you guys finished as high as you did, and he was really proud of you guys. So I just wanted to tell you that and let all you guys know that all of us as alumni are really really proud and honored that you guys represented Keller at the state meets. Hats off to you guys and girls for everything that you did this season, and yeah, it means a lot to all of us. I just want you to know that.
Yes, sir. We're very proud to keep bringing on that tradition of excellence.
Yeah, man. So it's funny. I wasn't going to share this, but the last time we made kind of like a mark to where like people in the state like really knew Keller was the regional meet. I feel like back in 2011, we didn't make it to the state meet, but as a team, we decided to wear the Bumblebee jerseys in honor of the previous state team because it was kind of like our last show, like the last dance, kind of like just make our mark no matter what happens. We'll
Hmm.
just let everybody know we're here, we're Keller. And thankfully, Coach Park was there and he saw us, and Coach Zaring, who used to coach the team, was there, and everybody. So, the fact that you guys did as well as you did on a hard course and with a really good competition, like, yeah, that's not easy to do. You pretty much hit the nail on the head. You have to want it, you have to show up on that day, but at the end of the day, as long as you give it your best, that's really all that counts. So it's
Hmm.
a hard pill to swallow. I know. I in my own career, I was at the national meet one year. I was supposed to be All American, so top 20 to 25, and I ended up finishing 60th. I had a really bad race. It was a really tough course, and everybody who gets to the nationals is not bad. So you want better results. Obviously, it's the competitor in you, but at the end of the day, as long as you give it everything and you stay positive and you keep moving forward, that's all that matters.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that. And part of part of what has been just through my mental process this year is just like being happy in the moment, not taking anything for granted because, it's a blessing to be here and doing what you're doing. And just, having fun with it and, living life in the good and the bad moments. Cause like, not everything's perfect. Part of the joy in life is just finding, that perfection in the imperfection, just enjoying things as they are. And even if stuff doesn't go your way, um, like, you know, you have a bad race or a bad workout, life's gonna go on. Like it's not the end of the world, and just accept that that's part of the process. So, I've had a fair share of bad races as well. Uh, Junior year state, I blew up and got like 100 and something at state. But it's a stepping stone for better things in the future.
What are some of the biggest challenges that you've had to face in your running career so far? Obviously, it's still early for you. You're only 18, but what are some of the biggest ones that stand out to you the most, and what did you learn from them along the way?
Oh, so I'll say I'll start with the biggest one I've had. The biggest challenge I've definitely had in not only my running career but my life in general was that transition from private school to public school. I my private school, we had 400 maybe kids in the entire school, you know, elementary through 12th grade. I had 40 kids in my class, and after sophomore year, deciding to make that jump, that big leap to 6A public school, I was essentially like putting myself in behind. I wasn't going to be towards the top of the class academics wise. I wasn't going to be one of the most well-known kids. And I know there's going to be way better athletes than me there, but I made the transition because you know myself and my parents recognized, like, you know greatness is formed through adversity, like diamonds form under pressure. So to make that move to a bigger environment with, more competitive people and more competitive competition would really just like help me blossom into who I am today. Um, and it was hard at first. I'm not gonna lie. I was super nervous. I didn't know anybody. Most people their junior year of high school, they know everyone that they're gonna know for, their entire 4 years through high school. You have your friend groups, your best friends, and I essentially had none of that coming in. So I've definitely forged my own path, um, pretty much the hard way, uh, transitioning in junior year. But without it, I don't think I would be in the position I'm currently in. Um, I don't think I would be the person I am. I don't think I'd be, you know, as, like knowledgeable as I am. I just wouldn't have the skills that I have now. And I'm so glad I made that hard decision to transfer from, your tight knit bubble to a big environment. But, sometimes you just got to take that leap of faith and dive right in, and just see what happens. You never know what could happen. And I think that challenge itself just like surpasses any injury I've had. I mean, I've had my fair share. You're gonna have them. You're gonna be beat up as a runner. Like junior year, I couldn't run for like a month over the summer because of an Achilles injury. But like, those challenges and big challenges like a transition like that just really help you, learn and develop. And I'm so grateful that I can face challenges and, see the beauty on the other side afterwards because they're not going to be fun while you're going through it. But when you eventually get through the other side, you're just going to look back and be like, man, I did that. Like, nothing is impossible for me to do.
Now I see you wearing a Creighton sweatshirt. Let's get into your decision to eventually sign with the Creighton Blue Jays and become a NCAA division cross country and track runner. What led to your decision to go with Creighton out of all the other offers that you had?
So I would say what caused me to, eventually decide that Creighton would be my home for the next 4 years would definitely be just the feel of the coaches in the program. I remember my first phone call. I did it in the car, because I had to go somewhere, and the Coach Fayers, the assistant coach, he texted me. He goes, "Give me a second. I'm eating a little Scooby snack." Uh, and he finally picks up, and I said, "Hey, coach." And he's like, "Hey," and there's a bunch of noise in the background. I'm like, "Is now a good time to call you?" He goes, "Yeah, we're just at a meet right now, but the 10K is going on, so I don't care. So I just figured I'd call you now." And I was like, "Okay, I guess. All right." And just talking with him, it was a great experience to, finally like hear his voice over the phone. And um eventually the conversation went well enough that he threw out how they have a recruiting camp over the summer. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to be interested in that. And eventually we got the fine details written out, and I found myself going there over the summer. And it's so funny because like, I've talked about like how not everything's perfect. Well, our flight the night before going to Omaha actually got canceled at about 1 o'clock in the morning. So we found ourselves in the car at about 4 in the morning on our way to Omaha, Nebraska. And that was a rough drive. I'll tell you that. I mean, 9 hours, you go through Kansas and there's just like straight cornfields and grass, and it's horrible. It's so boring. But when we got there, I felt at home, um, just meeting some of the guys on the team and meeting some of the people that went to the camp who, some of them were on my official visit. I just had so much fun, at that camp and meeting Coach Fayers and Coach Gannon, putting a face to the name. Like it just like felt like home. And that's kind of something I've been telling the younger guys, like our juniors on the team, who've asked me about like advice for recruiting. And I've essentially just told them, like, it should feel like home. You should just feel it. Like, yeah, I should go here. And I mean, that whole recruiting camp, I'm just sitting there cracking jokes with all the other guys and the assistant coach, and we're just laughing and having a good time. This dude Fayers had us do about like 30,000 strides on that stupid concrete part in their soccer field, but it just really, going to that camp really just, kind of weighed my scale of like, man, like I had so much fun there. Like that could be every day for me, and that would be awesome. And so when it came time for official visits, we got me scheduled for an official visit out there, and the main worry for me was, funding, because it is a private school. It is expensive, but I really just was like, you know what? If I go out on this official visit and, I get a number that's not horrible, I really might think I might commit on the spot. Like I was like in that mentality. I was like, "Oh my gosh, if they throw out a number that's not terrible, I think I might go here like immediately." And we go out for the official visit and meeting the full team now and running with them some. I was like, "Man, these guys are hilarious, dude." We played basketball for like, I don't even know, an hour, hour and a half, and they had the loudest freaking basketball rim I've ever heard in my life. And we were like crying, laughing so hard, and just hanging out. And, the coaches were just awesome as ever. And meeting some of the other recruits on that visit, I just was like, man, this might be home. And they're a top 10 physical therapy school in the country, and that might be, the path I do later in life. And I was just like, you know this place just feels right. And I went on other visits as well, but none of the other visits just quite gave me the feeling that Creighton did, getting spoiled and just feeling at peace. And they they told me that my academics would help out. And they do 4-year scholarships, which is something a lot of schools don't do now in the NCAA in this climate. And so I just I was so sold on them promising me a spot, and they just seemed like genuine people. Like that's the most important part of it all. Their coaches were genuine people. They cared about every single one of their athletes like they were their own kids. And I I remember I asked Coach Fayers on the visit. I said, "Hey coach, so when I finally decide, like, how do I commit?" And he goes, "All you got to do is call me up and say, 'Go Blue Jays.'" And I remember I ate at Little Caesars right before, and it was probably like a month or two after my visit. And I was just like, you know what? I'm ready to commit to Creighton. So I texted him, "Hey, can I call you in like an hour or two?" He said, "Yeah, I'll be free." And I call him up and I said, "Hey, coach, I just wanted to thank you for everything and go Blue Jays." And he immediately goes, "Go Blue Jays." And I was like, oh, I mean, the energy never turns off with this guy. So, you know, almost being done, signing day is in like a week. Um, I'm just, it doesn't feel real to be done. I'll tell you that much. Like, I never thought I would be in this spot in sixth grade, almost not finishing a 200. But I'm so happy with where I'm at in this sport, and this sport's just kind of blessed me. And this school I'm going to just feels like it's going to develop me as an athlete and a person above all else. And I just feel like at the end of however long I'm there, I'm just going to come out as a better person than I ever was entering.
I love that so much, man. I'm really happy for you. That's a huge accomplishment in and of itself. Not many people get an opportunity to go to a Division One school and then be an athlete at that level. So that's amazing. What advice would you give to your younger self that's just starting out in the sport of running?
Oof, I would say I wouldn't change it for me. How I tell other people, like us working at, Bear Creek Running, I kind of have the same advice for others as I would myself. And that's just, when you're starting, just have fun with it, like it's not that serious. We're pretty much just, going out and running and do what animals do. I mean, there's no need to take the sport for more than what it is, and treat it like it's life or death. You should just go out and have fun, meet some people, go run so you can eat whatever you want afterwards, and you know just go go experience things, go find new spots to run, go see nature. That's the main thing you got to do with running. You just got to go have fun and just go out there and do it. You don't need to worry about like going out and doing a hard workout or hitting specific splits or oh no, my heart rate's too high. Any of these things. You just need to go out and do it. And eventually down the road, if you want to get more serious with it, you can start worrying about those things. But if you're just starting, just go do it. That's the best thing you can do. You can get up off your bed, off your couch, whatever, and just go run and just go have fun. And that's what I tell people all the time when they come in to the store, and that's what I would tell myself and younger people who just want to join the sport, like just go do it. Just go have fun.
So, chocolate milk enthusiasts, please let us know the story behind that and why you are so into chocolate milk.
I I would say my love for chocolate milk kind of came about whenever I first started seeing this guy, Dr. Chapman, and he told me how good it was. And I was like, well, I do like chocolate. And I guess milk's healthy for you, so I guess it'll work. And now, shoot, if I go in my pantry downstairs, I probably have about I don't know, 4 cases of chocolate milk. It's an addiction. After
Healthy.
every run, I have chocolate milk. Yeah, I wanna say I've probably had, 3 chocolate milks today. Shoot, I'll probably have 1 with dinner, which probably on the line of, like, healthy and, like, okay, you just like chocolate. But it's such a good recovery tool, especially because it has that perfect carb to protein ratio. Um, that like it's the best recovery drink you can have for sports. So I just always find myself like first thing I do after a run, I normally go find my chocolate milk and I drink chocolate milk. Just because that's that's my thing I do. That's my enjoyment after a workout, and that's an addiction I have, and it's a good addiction, I would say. It's not too bad to be addicted to chocolate milk, but I will always be a chocolate milk enthusiast.
There are worse things to be addicted of for sure. So you have a little bit longer of a cross country season coming up. You have one meet next week and then possibly another one the following. What are your goals in track season this year when you're finishing your senior season? Obviously, you're going in with a 413 mile, and then kind of share with us a little bit of your goals and other events as well.
I would say, you know, ending cross country season, it's definitely going to be hard for me because that's that's a part of my life that's over with. Like I'll never touch cross country in high school ever again. Like I'll be done and that phase of life will be over, but that's okay. We're just going to hit these last 2 races hard and go have fun with the guys and see, what happens, go mix it up. But going into track is kind of where I start to get more focused and lasered in, and I'm eyeing Dalquist's records, Austin Dalquist being, University of Arkansas alumni and Keller High School legend, state champion, pro runner. Um, I want to go take down a few of his records, and I know they're gonna fall, if not by me, by these juniors. But I kind of want to go grab them first. Like I want to at least go snag one while I'm here. and I'm really eyeballing that mile record, 407. Even though I know he ran faster after graduation, I want to go see what I can do, see if I can lower it some. Um, and 407's nothing to scoff at. Like that's a time, especially in 2014, before these super shoes and everything, that's moving. And I think that I can just go out there and better it. And if I can go do that before I go move on to the NCAA, I think that would just give me a huge confidence boost. If I go out there and, you know, try and lower a time from a guy like Dalquist would really just cement myself in like, history at Keller or just, give myself some confidence. Like I'm ready to compete with these, collegiate athletes.
I love that, man. Well, we're definitely going to be cheering for you as well as the rest of the team as y'all finish y'all's cross country season and go into track season. AJ will be featured in our Last Dance series along with AJ and a couple of the other guys. So make sure you guys subscribe to the TOWKA Tribe to see all of that unfold. AJ, I want to thank you again for joining me this evening. I really appreciate you, brother. Always good to talk with you and learn more about the sport of running and what other people's journeys are like. I have a long journey as well in the sport, but it's always cool to get other people's insights and wisdom, and you certainly have a lot of it, sir. So if you guys enjoyed this episode, please give it a huge thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Check out the last podcast episode and the last YouTube video. The links to both of those will be in the description below. And until next time, we'll see y'all on the other side.